Welcome back guys. Today in this tutorial I will show you guys how to animate this cool number flipping animation in Adobe XD. You can use this technique to create cool number revealing animations for your UI prototypes. For an example, stopwatch animation or loading animation or percentage revealing animation or even like old school scoreboard animation likewise. And you can use these techniques in any part of your UI, and you can also use this in fonts, text as well. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and create a new file. For this sample, I'm going to create a mobile artboard, so I'm going to stick to iPhone size. So I'll choose this one, and you will by default get a iPhone artboard in here. So let's start our file. First thing, I'm going to create a background, just a rectangle, and we don't need borders, and let's change the colors. So I'm going to apply this blue color. Alright, and this is really important for this type of animation. You need to name everything properly. So for this one, I'm going to name as BG, and straight away I'm going to select the text, and I will click in here and start with 0, number 0, then enter, number 1, enter, number 2, enter, number 3, likewise type until 9. And then let's select this one, and maybe let's bring the size bigger, and bold text is fine, and let's change the color as well. So I'm going to apply this yellow color in here. Let's bring it here. Let's bring the size a bit more bigger. Alright, next step, really important part, go in here and rename this file. Renaming is really important for this one. So I'm going to just say number 1, and I'm going to make a copy, alt drag, and I'm going to name this one as number 2. Alright, now we have two set of numbers. Select both of them and align them nicely, bring it to the center, and now go to the shape tool in here and select rectangle, and draw a rectangle covering only one set of numbers, one line of numbers. Adjust the rectangle to fit in all the numbers you can see. Select all of them except the background, right click and select make mask with shape. This is same as masking in Photoshop or Illustrator. Now select this and make this as one group, and go into the layers and name this group. So I'm going to name this as number set. Alright, for this tutorial I'm going to change this number value. So let's change this to maybe 10 instead of 00 for the initial stage. So I will just drag this one in here. Okay, looking good. Alright, just align them properly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a button icon, so that when we press the button the number will change. Just a rectangle in here, and I'm going to make them as rounded corners, and maybe let's change the color. We don't need a border. Before that, change the name, and I'm going to name this one as switch, and we don't need a border, and change the color to a blue color. Alright, and let's align them to the center. Now select the artboard on top, alt drag, which will create a new artboard, which will duplicate our artboard with all the components with their settings and proper names which we have already assigned. That's what we really wanted. So let's copy. Now we have two artboards in here. Alright, so let's change the numbers. So I'm going to change this to maybe 30, 35 or something like that, just a random number. Alright, so let's start with our prototype. Select the button in here and go to the prototype and drag to the second artboard and go to trigger and choose tap, and for the action is going to be auto animation, and let's give 1 second for duration. And for this second artboard, go back to the previous animation with the same settings. Okay, so let's play this one and see how it works. Alright, so let's play it in here. Alright, cool. So that's it, guys. Really easy and really simple. Yeah, so this is how you make this type of animation. Okay, now we can also play with easing settings and make these animation a bit more fun. So let's change this easing to maybe, for the starting one I'm going to select maybe snap, and the second animation ending one I'm going to select maybe bounce. Alright, so let's animate and see how it looks. Alright, starting looks smoother, ending, yeah, we have the bounce in here. So looks cool. You can play with the easing settings and create a bit more cooler animations in here. So now what I will do is I will create by improving this animation, let's create something automated. So by clicking one switch, let's bring the number changing from 0 to 10 and then go back to 0 again. By this you can use the same principle to create any type of stopwatch kind of animation or any number animation you want. We are going to use the auto animate feature in here as well, and we are going to create more multiple artboards in here. So before that, let's change our design a bit. I'm going to make the numbers bigger, and maybe let's apply a rectangle behind, and also maybe let's play with the colors as well. Okay, I think this size is fine, so let's bring it to the center, draw a rectangle, change the color, maybe change this color to a different shade of blue. This look fine, and I'm going to make the corners as rounded corners. Alright, and let's label this button. I'm going to name this one as start. Alright, and this look better. Okay, so now we have our artboard ready and all the names are in place. Now we are going to do the same thing we did earlier. I'm going to duplicate the first artboard from here. So when we click on the start button, it will go to the second artboard, and from second artboard onwards we will make it as a automated animation. Select the artboard, alt drag and duplicate a copy, and now go back in here and change 00 to 01. Just move it to the top like this in here. Alright, click outside. Now our first artboard is ready. Alright, so let's create our prototype. Select the start button and link to the second artboard. Trigger is going to be tap and action is going to be auto animation. And in the second artboard we don't need the start button, so I will select the start button and make the opacity 0. Okay, now we are going to repeat the same process for other artboards also. I'm going to duplicate the second artboard and place it in here, and this time I'm going to make more copies, all the copies we need. We need for 8 copies. Alright, I'm going to make one more copy, and I'm going to change the number values also. So I'm going to increase one number in each of these artboard. This one will be 3, and likewise I'm going to do this part faster and come back to you guys. Alright guys, so we have 11 artboards, one with the idle stage 00 and 10 with starting from number 1 to number 10. Alright, okay, so now let's start with the prototype, and let's go and link these artboards in here. Select the second artboard. You have to select the artboard. This part is really important. If you don't select the artboard, you won't see the time trigger in the trigger drop down menu. So you have to select the artboard and go to trigger and select time from the trigger and select the action as auto animate, and the duration, let's stick to 1 second, and easing also, let's stick to bounce. Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing for the second artboard. So this time third artboard. This time we are going to select the number 2 to 3, and from then onwards we are going to do the same for other artboards also. Make sure to keep the trigger time and also the action to auto animate. And the last one, number 10, will go back to the 0 position. So the first artboard, and all the settings remains the same. Alright guys, all of our artboards are linked already. Prototype is ready, and each of these numbers are linked to one increasing numbers. So when we click on 0, it will go to number 1, and from then onwards it will wait for 1 second because the duration is 1 second, and then it will go to the next artboard, so on. And when it reaches to the last artboard, number 10, it will go back to the number 0 and stop our animation. So let's play and see our animation, and our animation is working fine. All looks good. So guys, this is how you make this type of number animation. You guys can do the same with text also, and you can use these techniques in your UI prototype and create this type of cool animations for changing numbers. You can change easing settings and delay settings to make this animation a bit more cooler. So let's change some easing settings in here. I'm going to change these to wind up, and also I'm going to change the delay to maybe 4 seconds. I'm going to do that for all of these artboards, and let's change and see our animation how it looks. You guys can play with these settings. Each of these easing will have its own unique type of animation. Okay, so let's play now. Alright, this is looking better than earlier. So likewise, you can play with all these settings and create cool old school scoreboard kind of animations in here. Alright guys, so that's it for this video, and thank you for watching. Hope you guys learned something new in Adobe XD today. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next tutorial.